Well, I thought I'd try to see if I can demonstrate how I solder connectors onto motor wires. So I've got a couple of different supplies here to show you. I've got the motor. Here's a connector. I have it held in this little clamp. It makes it a lot easier to work if you can clamp it down so it won't move. And I've got 60/40 electric solder with electrical solder, with flux inside of it, and some extra flux. All right, well, I'm going to show you something else that I wanted to show you in the previous video. Here's this extra segment was inserted so that I could show you this clamp, which I went over in the previous section very quickly, but I didn't really show it very well. This is a handy little tool that I have that has a spring-loaded action and this end with a little slot, which is perfect for holding these little connectors. Like so. You can see the slot in there. So it clamps down on that, but you know, these tools are not the easiest thing to find. I do have another one that has a stand built into it, and this is just a straight end. The stand allows you to set it down different directions like that. It doesn't have a slot, but it can hold a connector like that. By the way, here's a better view of this connector. You can see that it's not completely circular. It has a flat side to it, and that's where the solder sits and the wire goes into it. Some connectors are just completely round, and others look like this. I thought I'd try to give a better, more focused view of that. All right, anyway, so if you don't have these special tools, what else can you do? Well, you can use a regular pair of forceps like this. These lock into position, so you could put your connector in here and lock it. That holds it. And you can use a regular pair of pliers with a rubber band on it. Not too tight, just enough to give it a little tension. And that'll hold the connector for you too while you're soldering. So there's different options that you can use. And while I was soldering, or while you'll see in the next segment, while I'm soldering, I have some difficulty with the wires. Well, I forgot that we do make this tool, this handy tool that holds wires for soldering. It's called a soldering jig. And it's got these different slots so it can handle different size wires. And to show you how that works, here's the motor with the connectors that I soldered onto it that you'll see me doing in the next segment. But that can just push into a slot like that, and it holds it. So that way when you're soldering, you know, holding a connector, you can put it up to this and it holds it nice and firm. So it doesn't move while you're trying to solder, which is really handy because as you'll see in the next segment, it wasn't cooperating, it was moving all over the place. So thought I'd show you that little tool and these other different options for holding the connectors. I hope that'll help. Thanks. The first thing I'm going to do is prepare the ends of the wire. Now, if your motor wires aren't already tinned with solder, you'll need to put some solder on. And I'm going to pretend like these don't have any solder on them, but they do. If they were bare wire, what you want to do is dip the end into flux here, and then arrange this for me. All right. And then we're going to just melt a little solder onto the wire to tin it. Once you've done that, and these, like I said, these are already done, you want to cut these because they need to be about this long to fit in the connector. So I'm going to use a wire cutter here and just trim these down just a little bit to shorten them. This isn't cooperating with me. There we go. All right. And the third one, you can see how long this one is. Okay, I've shortened all three of them. Now, the first thing, I'm going to work with one at a time, of course, and I've put heat shrink tubing on these wires and slid them down so that they're away from the part where I'm working. I'll show you how that works later. Anyway, for now, I'm going to prepare the connector by dipping it in the flux just a little bit. And then I'm going to tin the connector with the soldering iron. All you need is a little drop. Let it flow on to the connector. There we go. So I've tinned the end of the connector. Now I'm going to put the wire on it like this. And repeat with a little solder. It's handy if you have something to hold this. I can't do this very easily on camera, so I'm going to put my hand over the top like this. Grab a little more solder. It's a little tricky. You got to have steady hands. The solder stays liquid just for a moment and then solidifies. So here's what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to repeat for the other two. I'm going to get another connector, get it in the clamp. This one, I don't know if you can see it, this one is round. Not all the connectors I'm using are the same. I just grabbed whatever I could find in my parts box. But since this one is round, I'm going to do it vertically. Put a little flux in there, hold it vertical, drop a little solder in the hole. All right. And this, that heat shrink fell off. I'll put that back on. Okay. I'm going to do the middle wire. I'm just going to hold it with my hands. Like that. And going vertically. First I'm going to heat the solder up. Then just put the wire in there. That one's done. Third one. Here's a connector. I'm going to get this thing clamp. This connector, see, it's open on one half, so I can go from the side instead of vertical. But anyway, like I said, they're all a little bit different. But I'll dip this in the flux and tin it. Oh. And the last wire here, need a little more solder on the soldering iron. It's helpful to have a little dab of it there. Okay, and then touch the iron to the connector. It liquefies, and then you just put the wire in, and it sets. That's it. Okay. All three wires have a connector on them now.